This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. I've been overseas doing a huge project over in Africa, South Africa and Namibia to be specific. And hopefully I can make a future video detailing everything about that trip. But for now, it'll be under wraps. I'll be showing a couple photos of that trip throughout this video. But we should jump right on in because today's video is going to be all about my Leica haul that I did recently. And there are 5 pieces in total that I'll be talking about or maybe doing a full review on. And I just saw that Leica reissued the M6 and it's such a beautiful sight to see one of my favorite cameras in brand spanking new condition, and the 2022 version does look a little bit different. The red dot doesn't say Leica, it says lights. There's other things about it that looks a little bit new. So with that being said, you will not believe what's in number 3 on this list. So at number 1 we have the Leicavit M, and honestly I don't know if I'm going to be keeping this yet, but it's a pretty cool piece of kit. The Leicavit is an OEM rapid winding mechanism that is made for all Leica M bodies from the M4 and up, excluding the M5. It comes in very beautiful packaging and it essentially replaces the stock base plate of all of your Leica M bodies. Now with this new Leicavit base plate, you have this little dagger looking thing that you could flick out just like this, and after you take a photo, instead of winding right here, you wind over here. Pretty sick. So from what I can imagine, once I set my aperture to f8 and I know my zone, then I won't have to touch the focusing tab anymore. Then I just fire away, wind, fire away. Oh shoot, is there film in here? Oh crap. So I actually did put this through its paces while I was in Africa, and it was actually hard for me to get accustomed to using that thing because I'm so used to the flicking mechanism with just my thumb. So it kind of took me a while to actually pull out the dagger looking thing and just shoot like that. So I think it takes some time getting used to, but once you actually do get used to it, it's extremely useful. And if you want to put the dagger part away, you could just flick it in the opposite direction right at the tip, and then you could slowly fold it back into the Leicavit. For this specific pickup, I would rate it a solid 7.5 out of 10. At the number 2 spot, we have the Leica 50mm Summicron dual range. Now, I'm not really a 50mm focal length kind of guy, more of a 28-35, especially on rangefinder, but this vintage glass is probably the best 50mm lens that Leica has ever made. It's got a solid brass construction, a rigid focusing ring, and the weight is just screaming at your face. But what sets this lens apart from the rest is the little goggles that it comes with that allows it to unlock the dual range in its name, the close focusing goggles. So the most basic thing about this lens is that it acts like a little magnifier or magnifying glass for your viewfinder, but it also unlocks the different part of the lens that you could use for close focusing. There's a tiny little button at the top of this lens that when pressed down by the goggles, it allows you to switch over to the close focusing range. Now again, this is vintage glass, so it's not going to give you the most clarity in all of your images, but it allows you to get so close to your subject that it will give you so much character and kind of a bit of a unique look that 50mm on rangefinders can't typically give you. I would rate this pickup an 8 out of 10. Alright, before we get to item number 3, I would love to thank the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace is a beautiful all-in-one website builder that you could use to create an online photography portfolio. It's really easy to pick and choose a template to be your new home for your work. I picked the Avenue template because I've always been a fan of the grid layout, and now there's a new home for my all-time favorite Wyoming photos. Squarespace makes it really convenient to upload and rearrange photos to your choosing with live updates, and if you ever hit a problem, you can contact their 24/7 customer service to get you going again. You can start a free trial today at squarespace.com/ChrisChew. Use my code ChrisChew at checkout for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Alright, number 3 is pretty exciting because I am proud to announce that in 2022, I'm going to be doing a full review on the Leica M5. Man, this camera is truly, undeniably ugly, no matter which way you spin it. The back, the top, the bottom. You can even put legendary glass like the Leica Summicron KOB, but if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a Leica M5. Yo mama, so ugly. I mean, the Leica M5 is so ugly that the company had to go back, re-release the M4 and call it the Leica M4 II. Okay, that's enough roasting of this camera. We've all heard it before, but in all honesty, I think it's overhated. It offers a lot of things that the M6 doesn't even have. Some of you may already know this, but this is the only Leica M that offers spot metering, and it actually shows you the shutter speed that you should jump to once it reads the lighting. The M6 and onward only give you the little 2 arrows that kind of hints towards what your exposure should be. It's kind of like filing tax with the IRS. The light meter knows what the answer is, but it'll only tell you if you're off. It won't tell tell you how much you actually owe. I actually have not pushed a roll through the M5 yet, but I will be doing a full review on the camera, and I think it'll be a very exciting one to watch. So if you want to watch that video, make sure you subscribe down below and like this video so that more people can find out when that video comes out. I would rate that pickup a solid 7.9 out of 10. At number 4 is one of my favorite new lenses, the Leica Elmarit 28mm spherical. I'm a huge fan of the 28mm focal length. It is my primary choice in street photography and documentary work, and what I'm most used to for zone focusing. Now, I did own a very comparable alternative to this lens, the Voigtlander 28mm Ultron spherical. That is such a mouthful. That option is incredibly sharp, incredibly small, and the color rendition is fantastic. The only complaint I had about that lens, amongst its many positives, is the fact that the aperture ring sticks out a little bit too much, and I constantly bump it when I'm focusing. And the second and definitely petty reason why I wanted to change lenses is that it wasn't Leica and it didn't look unified in the branding. I mean, this is just such a beautiful setup, and it has the beautiful square hood that I love. The colors are good, form factor is great, the aperture ring is nice and solid and seamless in the design. Focusing is perfect, so I would say that this pickup is a 9.5 out of 10. And last but not least, at number 5 is my Leica 21mm Elmarit, and I've had this lens for a long time. I showed it in this video, the Leica M10D review. Go ahead and check it out in this link. Now, like I said before, I am mainly a 28mm shooter on the streets, but the 21mm is perfect when the streets are so crowded that I want to get even more context that the 28mm can offer. The wide angle look is perfect, and it looks so dramatic in some scenes, and it is a 21mm, so you do need an external viewfinder if the magnification on your Leica is 0.72 or higher. If you have a 0.58 magnification in your rangefinder, you actually have those 21mm frame lines, so that's pretty cool. This lens is honestly not the sharpest, even if you set it at f8, but when you do set it at f8, literally everything is in focus, so that is super cool for fast-paced stuff. So I would pair that 21mm with the Leicavit because everything's in focus, so I don't really need to check anything, so I'm just rapidly firing off and taking good photos, hopefully. I've made a ton of great work on that lens and I want to use it more, so I will rate this pickup a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was great talking about Leica gear if you're a fanboy of the brand. I do have to be honest, the M5 and the 50mm Summicron DR are actually loaned to me. I'm not buying them. I don't own them. They were lent to me by a very good friend of the channel. So if you want to watch any of those videos, any of those reviews, or just want to see more content about this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. And I will see you in that next video. Peace.